I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. Today we have the pleasure of reviewing Coheed and Cambria's The Afterman, The Ascension. This is the first of a two-part double album. I guess that's what all double albums are, hence the double. And this is the 2012 version, and then the next, the Afterman, the Ascension. I think that's what it's called.
I don't know.
It's something like that. It's a D word. You know, the going up and then the coming down. The coming down will be in 2013. You know, and Coheed, very prolific band. Tom, you loved Coheed for a long time. You know, we reviewed Year of the Black Rainbow when it came out.
I really liked that one.
Yeah, I really liked it too. Would you give us some history about Coheed?
Yeah.
Give us some background here.
Well, this band, you know, they're one of the most fascinating bands to me out there in rock right now.
Right.
Because when they started, they were geared more towards kind of like a pop punk sound,
the hardcore sound.
Yeah, but it was really gritty, not very well produced, kind of raw, kind of sounded like a bunch of guys in a garage. And then slowly, as they got better production value, started to get bigger, they also got heavier. They switched towards more of a prog metal kind of aggressive sound.
Yeah, as the budget got bigger, I think they were able to add a little bit more girth to their sound.
Yeah, a little more production value, you know, make it bigger, make it more grandiose, and that's exactly what they do. And you know, obviously their albums throughout the years have told this story, followed the Amory Wars set, that whole, I almost called it a trilogy, but it's got way more than 3 parts to it. Who knows? And this falls somewhere in like the beginning, like before Year of the Black Rainbow, which was the first part, which they waited to tell until like they had told parts 2 through 4 or whatever, and then they went back, and now they're going back in further. I don't know. It's more confusing than Star Wars, that's all I know.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't really try to follow it. I really respect the fact that their whole career follows this one storyline, because that's a hell of an undertaking.
Well, they're really into graphic novels, I remember.
Yeah, and that's what the whole thing's based on.
The whole story is based on a graphic novel.
Which is really cool. It's a cool approach to a band, but what I like even more is that you don't have to be into that storyline just to appreciate the music.
Right.
And what's interesting is that I honestly did not like this band in the beginning. It took me a long time to get into them.
And that high voice.
Oh, yeah, because I hate high Geddy Lee-esque voices.
Yeah, you know, this band is really influenced by Rush. We got to see Rush a couple weeks ago.
That was awesome.
It was incredible. So getting to listen to this album right after that, you could see all of the influences.
Yeah, they do sound quite a bit like that. They have that kind of that high-pitched yet aggressive metal kind of sound, at least now. But this album was no different in the sense that, like other Coheed albums, it took me quite a few listens to get into. Every single Coheed album, particularly their more recent ones, first listen, I always think it's tacky. I always think it sounds like a sci-fi movie that's just kind of overdone and cheesy. And then I keep listening and somehow I end up falling in love with it. I get behind the songwriting. I love the aggressive approach to the sound. I love the melodies that Claudio comes up with, and the sprawling structures of the songs. They never bore me. They always keep me engaged. And so that's how I ended up really liking this album.
Yeah. One thing I noticed that was really different about the Ascension was mainly in the fact that there's a number of very positive and uplifting tracks here. And so, you know, when you think of that in context of how this is the first half of a double album that's supposed to be a prequel of all of these just really dark scenarios, right?
And it's the Ascension.
Right. So you have these really positive tracks. They're writing a story. It's just like in a movie how you have all these, you know, positive things happening, giving a lot of character development before, you know, the antagonist is presented with a major issue, and then you have some sort of climax where the antagonist has to solve the issue. That's the way this album flows. And I really like that because it's an album that tells a story. Even if you don't get into the lyrics, just in the music you can hear that it's telling a story musically. So the dichotomy between the two is something that I really admire about this band. So, you know, you get tracks like The Afterman and then Mothers of Men and Goodnight Fair Lady, where Mothers of Men and Goodnight Fair Lady, two of my, I think, are the weakest tracks on the album. Now, Tom likes Mothers of Men. Still a good track. I just didn't feel like that was where the strength of the album really lies, because then they blast you with these key entity songs and that are just hardcore. They show a lot of diversity in what Coheed and Cambria can do from a songwriting perspective, just the different approaches of rock music that they take, and it's just a nice edge that they bring. And then I like that track 9, Subtraction. They really have a nice ending. You can tell that that song not only serves as a good closer to this part of the album, but as the double album is going to be a great connector that connects the two. That transitional song that's just so quintessential on making a double album flow. So I really think that the Ascension was very well planned out. I can't wait to hear this, the part 2 and listen to them together. I think that this is going to be very tough to review the second one without considering this one.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's going to be a huge challenge. In fact, I didn't even like reviewing this one without the other one because I know my score is going to be lower than if they were both together. I think I would have liked it if it was a double.
Well, it's, you know, though, it's totally warranted to think of it that way because obviously them as artists, they planned it to be that way. So.
Absolutely. You know, I think that the key entity tracks, though, without those tracks, this album would not have succeeded quite as well. So I just love those tracks. I hope we get more tracks in that same vein on the second half. So, and that comes out in 2013, something to be excited about.
Yeah, definitely.
What is your guys' favorite Coheed album? I want to know. Leave us a comment at www.velocitiesofmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesofmusic. To finish this off, Tom, what are you thinking you're going to give this one?
I'm going to give it an 82.
79 from me. So right at that cusp, I think that's an 81 overall from us. That means this is a good album. We really like it. Go check it out. I happen to love Coheed. I know some people out there don't get into them, but I hope that, you know, some of you guys out there who appreciate Coheed, you know, take the time to talk with us about them because this is a band we really get into, but we're not the mega fans who get into every story. So if you're a mega fan, you know, you could give us some education. We definitely enjoy talking with our fans. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook because that's where we do all of our talking with you, and you guys, like I just said, make up a very important part of VIMTV. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.
Nobody listens anymore to what we're saying, to what we're said. And in your absence we promise.